When civilizations collapse, history often asks the wrong question. We ask what fell, what was destroyed, what ended. Empires, cities, institutions, belief systems. These are visible losses, dramatic and measurable. But collapse is not only about what disappears. It is also about what survives. And more importantly, who survives. Civilizations do not end evenly. They fracture along lines of power, access, adaptability, and proximity to resources. While monuments crumble and institutions dissolve, people continue living, adapting, and carrying fragments of the old world into whatever comes next. The future is not built by everyone who lived through collapse. It is built by those positioned to endure it. The idea that collapse resets society equally is comforting, but false. History shows that collapse redistributes power rather than eliminating it. It simplifies complexity, but it does not erase hierarchy. It selects. In ancient societies, survival was never random. Certain groups consistently endured disruption better than others. Farmers living near stable water sources outlasted urban elites dependent on fragile supply chains. Generalists survived where specialists failed. Those with practical skills adapted faster than those whose status depended on institutional roles. When centralized systems fail, abstraction becomes weakness. Bureaucrats lose relevance. Administrators lose authority. But those who can grow food, repair tools, build shelter, and organize locally become essential. This pattern appears again and again in the archaeological record. After the collapse of the Western Roman Empire, urban life declined sharply in many regions. Large cities emptied. Long-distance trade networks vanished. Coinage disappeared. Literacy narrowed. Yet rural communities persisted. Agricultural knowledge survived. Local leaders emerged. Life continued, but at a different scale. Those who survived best were not the most educated in imperial terms, but the most adaptable to reduced complexity. The same is true in other collapses. In the Maya lowlands, elite centers were abandoned, but populations did not vanish entirely. They dispersed into smaller settlements. Monumental construction ceased, but agricultural practices continued. Rituals simplified. Social organization adapted. Collapse transformed how people lived, not whether they lived. One of the most misunderstood aspects of collapse is the fate of elites. Popular narratives often imagine elites either escaping untouched or being violently overthrown. Reality is more nuanced. Some elites fall quickly. Others adapt by shedding visible power and integrating into new structures. Power does not disappear easily. It relocates. Families with land, stored resources, or local influence often survive disruption better than those whose power depended on centralized authority. Knowledge of governance may become irrelevant, but control over resources remains decisive. In many post-collapse societies, former elites reappear as local rulers, landowners, or religious authorities. Their titles change. Their power persists. Religion itself often becomes a vehicle for survival. Belief systems that can operate without infrastructure endure better than those dependent on complex institutions. Ritual, story, and moral authority require little material support. They adapt easily to scarcity. This is why religious and mythological traditions often survive collapses more intact than scientific or technical knowledge. They are portable. They are repeatable. They are embedded in daily life. Knowledge tied to practice survives better than knowledge tied to theory. A technique used daily is remembered. A system that requires rare conditions is forgotten. This creates a filtering effect. Collapse does not preserve the most advanced knowledge. It preserves the most resilient knowledge. Survivors are not necessarily the most intelligent, but the most flexible. They abandon what cannot be maintained. They simplify without nostalgia. They retain what works. Children born after collapse do not mourn what they never knew. They inherit a reduced world and accept it as normal. Memory fades quickly when continuity is broken. This is how civilizations truly end, not in destruction, but in generational amnesia. The survivors of collapse shape the next civilization by default. Their values, habits, and assumptions become the foundation of whatever emerges. What they forgot is just as important as what they preserved. This is why new civilizations often appear less complex than their predecessors, even when built atop ruins. They are not ignorant. They are constrained by inheritance. Archaeological layers show this clearly. After collapse, building techniques simplify. Materials change. Artistic styles become less intricate. Over time, complexity may return, but it is rebuilt, not resumed. The survivors decide what is worth rebuilding. Another group that consistently survives collapse is migrants. Those willing or forced to move adapt faster than those tied to place. Migration spreads knowledge unevenly. It mixes traditions. It accelerates cultural change. Collapse often increases movement. As conditions worsen in one area, people relocate. This redistribution of population reshapes power dynamics and cultural memory. Borders dissolve. Identities blur. New communities form from fragments. In this process, history becomes selective. What survives is not the full record of what was, but a compressed version shaped by survival needs. This is why post-collapse histories often feel incomplete or distorted. They are written by those who remained, not those who vanished. The illusion of continuity is created after the fact. Later societies project coherence backward. They imagine orderly transitions where there were ruptures. They assume intentional design where there was improvisation. Survivors do not experience collapse as a clean break. They experience it as uncertainty. What makes this unsettling is that collapse favors certain traits consistently. Adaptability, practical skill, local connection, willingness to abandon old identities. Those most invested in preserving the old system often struggle the most. Their expertise becomes obsolete. Their status evaporates. Their resistance to change becomes liability. History often remembers them as victims, but from a systems perspective, they were misaligned with new conditions. Collapse is not moral. It is environmental and structural. Understanding who survives is uncomfortable because it challenges narratives of merit and progress. Survival is not reward. It is fit. The people who carry civilization forward are rarely those who defined it at its peak. This is why the future often feels disconnected from the past. The survivors simplify the world enough to live in it again. And from that simplification, something new eventually grows. Subscribe to this channel for more. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a story lost to time.